All right. Hello. Would you may introduce yourself
Oh man, should I go by my name?
if you want?
And
You gotta speak louder, really loud.
I'm just thinking about a deep question now, or not deep question, like a name now.
I will just
Like,
introduce yourself.
hello, I'm Mark. Yeah.
All right, cool. So the first question in my canvas is, what is your understanding of instructional and or structural oppression?
Well, I guess it would just be more like people just not getting along over stuff that doesn't really matter. Like, say if you're in an institution, right? Some people are meant to do those things, but some people that are meant to do other things are inside of an institution, you know? Like, not all of us can go to school or be into one thing because other people are into different things. But for the oppression part, I just, like, hmm. Hold on. Do you have a piece of paper actually?
Oh, okay. There's a binder underneath all of the sheets. A pencil.
I'll just write down a short answer so I don't go like.
Dude, you just express yourself. That's all it is. Like, you don't. There's no right or wrong answer. Whatever it is in your mind. It's in your mind. That's it.
Oh, okay. So like I can literally just do whatever I want. There's no
Yeah,
censorship?
just answer. There's nothing. Well, whatever you want to say. There's no right or wrong or nothing. It's all about you. That's it.
Institutional or structural oppression. I think it's just people trying to get people to do things that they want them to do, but not specifically what they want them to do. Or what they want to do, I mean. Like, for one instance, like, you can tell me to. Man, I should have smoked that much indica before I came in here. Fuck.
Just continue. Just do it. No one's gonna judge you here, bro.
I'm trying to think of an example of institutional or structural oppression, but the best that I can think of is just like I think it's just because I don't really have anything that pisses me off for structural or institutional oppression. Like, you only let things offend you if you let them, you know? If someone says, if there's a sign that says, no racial slurs, and someone calls me a racial slur, right? I really wouldn't care. It's just a word, but I guess some people can see that as oppression. They're like, he called me this, he's not respecting me by calling me this certain name or calling me a human being, which we're all are, you know, we're human beings and we just have to respect each other. But the moment we just get offended by something that really means nothing to us, it's like maybe we really needed to be offended.
All right, that's all.
And for institutional, like work oppression, I guess, like violating our rights and stuff.
So institutional, that word, it's kind of like things that are put in place for certain groups of people, something like that. Somewhere around there.
There's like rules for them.
Something around there.
The only rule I really believe in is common sense. But depending on the situation of like what kind of goal you want to achieve, then there's gonna have to be certain rules, you know, like the 10 crack commandments, right? Like, don't get high on your own supply and all that. It's like, well, that's a certain set of rules you have to obey if you actually want to make it in that kind of business, you know.
Okay, so is that all
For
question one?
just keep shooting them my way.
All right.
Like, 'cause that was just for the institutional part. But when I saw oppression, I just took it upon myself to like think about it deeply. To be like, what's oppression? Like, calling those
Gotcha.
words or
So
actually
the second
stating us?
question is, identify any ways in which institutional and structural processes and mechanisms of oppression, like what can you identify? And there's another one on the side of it that says participating to race, ethnicity, culture, religion, gender, sexual orientation, and yeah, like
Oh, it's saying how do those institutions give out oppression? Okay. I think it's just because when you say I want to belong to, it's like claiming something immediately, but with that claim immediately gives you an opposition. Like like if you say white power, then you're obviously against blacks, like you have an enemy immediately. Or if
Yeah.
you're like, I am, like say if you're back then when religion was still killing people over, like I am a Muslim, then I mean I'm a Christian, then the Muslims would be like, all right, we gotta attack this guy. You know, it's because there's always gonna be differences in the world, but that alone, like I'm from this ethnicity, I'm this race, I'm this culture, I'm this religion, this gender, is like, yeah, that's cool, but mostly I just think you should keep it to yourself because, you know, a lot of people, no matter what you do, will dislike you.
Yeah.
And like in those cases with race, ethnicity, or just in general, you're just belonging to this group to the point where when you see another group, you kind of judge them for either not being you. That's if you're more, I guess if you're that judgmental person or insecure, you just judge other person on how they look. But that's how I see it when everyone's trying to belong to something certain, because we're all humans in the end, right? We're all human beings, but that's my answer for how does those institutions breed, what was it, oppression? Yeah. It's all nonsense to me to try to belong to a certain group, because in the end, we're all human. But I'm just saying to break down walls, like just have no barriers. Like we're all humans in the end, man. You know?
So like how would you describe that in your own life?
Oh, like my experience with it.
Yeah.
Like say you're in high school, right? And you're a nerd and you don't play football, right? Obviously, like there's gonna be some of those athletes that are gonna just come to you and be like, see you differently, you know, like this guy's not one of us. And it'll be like the same way around, like, oh, you like playing video games, reading books, and you look at these guys like, these guys aren't like us either, because it kind of puts you in your own group. But why? I kind of think we're just programmed to belong to a certain group in a way. Like that's what was, or one experience, like, or one example I could give actually with experience is just like this high school experience. You know, right? There's always groups. There's always groups. Even when you leave high school, there's groups. Even before that, they call them different words though, like religion, cult, group, company, organization.
Okay. All right. So can you please describe the range of experiences, thoughts, and emotions, and like feelings?
When I was experiencing that.
Just like yeah, somewhere around there.
Well, at first it makes you feel insecure when you see all that, right? You don't belong to a certain group. And then it's anger because you feel like you don't belong. But then after you realize that everyone, you know, you don't need to be a part of anything, you just be yourself, you know, just relax. Then it's acceptance. And then you just start feeling happy that you didn't have to claim anything. You just decided to be yourself.
Okay. And how and in what ways have these experiences affected you, shape your life?
And what was that thing Solid Snake said? He said he's using diamonds as a metaphor for human beings being like First, it starts as coal, and then through all that pressure, it becomes a diamond from all the experience, or that weight, that gravity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just makes you who you are, I guess. I kind of forgot the question already. Are you already out of the pen, by the way?
What was that?
Are you already out of the pen, by the way? Or your cart, I mean?
We're fucking recording.
I know, but like...
Why would you ask me that on video? You fucking zozo.
I'm old enough, but they don't know that.
Oh my god. Alright,
It's just to get my minor, because indica is indica.
I'm trying to interview you on a school subject. I'm not trying to talk about marijuana here.
No, I'm saying just so I can actually answer your questions without getting clouded in my
Okay,
thoughts.
cool. How have you learned to cope with like negative experiences?
First of all, it's gonna be like a war inside your head with all these thoughts. But then once you start like finding what you enjoy in life and what you like to do or how to spend your time, you know, and you just, I guess in simple, you just cope by going outside or finding things you like to do. You know, like you don't like what you're doing, go find something else. You know? You just keep going until you actually find something you feel content with doing.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you stay in your head too much, it's gonna bring you down, and you gotta let it out sometimes what's inside. Like all that energy, all that negative energy. You know, some people play music, some people play sports, some people lift weights. Like, you know, you feel good after. You'll really feel good after you find something you like doing. That's how I cope with it.
That's a really cool way, man. Is there anything you would like to share, others to know that, like, I haven't asked yet? Like, something we haven't discussed?
I think everyone should just get along, like, not get offended by words, or when people don't call you or try to, like, make people assimilate to what you want to do because you do it. Everyone's different, everyone's their own individual. They'll do what they want to do. You can't get anyone to do anything, because in the end, you just have to accept the fact that no matter what you do, you'll have to let these people learn on their own way. You know, and in the end, they'll just learn the hard way or learn the easy way. Whatever either of those options are, you'll still learn. But you can't force anyone to do something they don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it means giving you respect. You know, that's just emotions. You just gotta let it go. Just let it be. But some people just can't let it be.
Got it. So, I have to ask two original questions. Mm-hmm. So, I want to know your story, and after that, I want to know how you identify yourself, what you identify yourself with. So, you know, so what is your life story?
What should I do? Well, I was born here in Long Beach, and I moved around a lot, like, including Inland Empire, Las Vegas. You know, I just drifted around a lot, basically. And I don't know, now I just kind of go with where the wind takes me. That's really how I've been writing this out ever since I was born.
So what are your experiences throughout your whole life? Like, where did you grow up? What friends did you have? You know, stuff like that. Like, what is like your own life story, kind of?
Well, I I moved to Corona after I was born here, and I stayed there from elementary to high school, but I was always jumping schools within that town.
What was the reason for it?
Just getting in trouble, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. And
Like, what are some examples of those situations where you got in trouble?
People getting offended over words.
Mm.
People getting offended for you doing things that aren't harming them.
Alrighty.
Like, say, don't know what the legal term for it is, but like we have freedom of speech, right? But you can't say I hate you. You can only say
Oh.
positive things.
Okay. Cool. So what about after high school? What happened after that?
After high school, I barely passed high school, like barely.
What's
Quite fast.
what was your inspiration for that though?
For like the whole time I was in that town up to junior year, yeah, up to right after junior year, I came back to the school I finally wanted to go back to, but I didn't want to do sports anymore. I didn't want to study and all that. Like, you know, you just never had time to yourself, and you're like, I just want to be myself.
Okay.
Just do my own thing. So I wasn't. Or some people they're like, oh, that kid's lazy. Was like, no, I understand the word. I'm just enjoying my life. Like, I go in there, I meet the people in the class. I'm like, okay, all of you are cool, and then I'm cool with all the teachers, but you know, I just wouldn't be showing up to school every other day. Like, I wouldn't show up till like fourth period, and then but everyone was cool. It wasn't because like I hated the world. It was just like, can I just be me for a second? Or it was a little bit of I'm kind of mad at the world.
Alrighty. And it sounded like I'm asking like more than two questions, but really I'm just
I feel
trying
like
to.
this is actually getting it across because I think this is what you should have been asking other than those questions. Only because when I heard those words, I have to go into the mind of the person that typed that up. Because I know what those words mean, but you have to reread them a lot to be like, oh, that's what they mean. Because, like, take for example, number one, what is your understanding of institutional and or structural oppression? You could just say, what do you understand about oppression? Because it's not just inside institutions or structural or structures; it's everywhere. You know?
So you identify yourself as a Samoan, right?
I mean, if you want to take a look at my blood, yeah, I'm Samoan.
So like what through your life story, who are you now? How do you identify yourself? More than just your race.
I like to identify myself as a human being, but in the sense that human beings, they if you're a true human being in my mind, it's like you don't get offended by things that, I mean, you could when you do get offended, I feel like that's just your mind trying to tell you that there's a challenge and you have to face it and you'll grow from it. But all you want to do is just live in peace. Like, oh, you want to claim to be, I don't know, say like, I'm a gang member, right? You immediately have enemies. But the moment you're just like, I don't have to do anything. I'm just doing my thing, being myself. You're a human being, you know. You don't let anything bother you. You just let it be.
All right, those are two questions. I'm hoping I did good at this.
You can redo it again if you want, because honestly,
it's all good.
because like I felt really sloppy at 1 through 5, because like I literally couldn't think about what you were saying up until